Actually, you can tell me how it looks because I made some setting changes based on what that guy said.
Not yet. Oh, there's so much good data in here.
The Division stream testing stuff live now.
Yeah, the one that's live. Yeah.
There we go. It looks fucking fantastic. Let me turn. I'm gonna turn my audio on so I can hear the delay and see how much the delay is. It looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome. That was perfect timing.
Yeah, it seems like it's about 8 seconds or so, 5 to 8 seconds.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it looks really good. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, and then the other thing was how fast I can move, and you should be able to track pretty close to real time.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, gameplay, I think, is behind about 5 seconds. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's about 10 seconds, actually.
Yeah, it's about normal.
That was probably a little fast for seconds. I was probably counting a little quick, maybe 7 seconds or so. Sure. But yeah, the delay I think is acceptable. And yeah, I mean the quality looks great because I've known. Am I right? This game is known for being very pretty, right?
It is very pretty, yes.
Yeah.
Wildlands is a little bit more pretty, but this is pretty good.
Is it okay? Okay.
Different pretty. This does a really good job of New York. Really good job. Matter of fact, Crunchi used to live in New York, and you can actually go by where he used to live in this game.
Oh, interesting! Wow, it's that detailed.
That's fantastic. Like 2 blocks from where I used to live. Yeah.
Wow. Am I right that this didn't have the greatest launch, but then they kind of really pulled it together?
That's close. That's close.
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't remember if I kind of remember hearing something about.
Yeah,
that.
The beginning was kind of they had a really flat launch, and then they got with their last several releases
expectations, but they've really kind of pulled it together. Not No Man's Sky level, but
yeah. Because they used the name Tom Clancy, which is normally strategic shooters. And then they made all of a sudden we're shooting bullet sponges and everybody's like, what are you doing, right? And it was just like so everybody kind of got turned off. They used if they'd have made it
it was a marketing fail.
Yeah, it was exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Perfectly good game. They just pitched it as something it wasn't.
Yeah, my parents just started watching that new Jack Ryan TV show.
I haven't seen that.
I've heard good things about it, but it's not generally my kind of show.
Hey, we got a flank. Crossing. I'm on your back. Nice, Rolly. I'm going heavy.
Is that loud enough to the point that it won't bug you?
I don't hear
like the narration in the background. Okay, you don't hear the narration.
Yeah, you're great.
Okay, good.
Pin down. Oh, hey, you're dead.
Yeah. That was turns out I didn't have any gun types left.
No. Duck. He's down. We're clear.
Hey, look, here's my tip. Thank you. And another one, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I should have been watching your health. My bad. I'm the medic. It's my job.
Well, it would be ideal if I didn't got myself killed all the time. That would help too.
Yeah, you did.
In class-based games, I always played medic.
Or the healer.
Yeah, dude, I love being healer. Like the first game I really got a lot of hours in and got addicted to was the Source mod Day of Defeat.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking? Did you ever play that?
No, I didn't play it, but I know it. How many targets you get?
Man.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you ping?
No, I don't have the ping.
Oh, you don't have the ping?
No.
I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put the turret. I'm gonna put the turret up. Let's see if they like that.
Yeah, I probably had 500 hours in that.
Dang.
A year or so time.
Yeah.
I was always medic. You know, it had medic, engineer, heavy, scout, you know, that kind of stuff, right? It was a source mod, so, you know, the Half-Life 2 engine.
Sweet.
Yeah, Matt, like 16 on 16, if I remember right.
That's pretty good.
Maybe it was smaller than that. Maybe it was like 8 on 8. I'd have to look it up.
Forward, left, I am.
Very objective based.
Sniper's got me pitched. Somebody's taking chunks out of me. love it when they go in the open like that. Found him. Moving up, moving up, moving up.
To create the maximum number of ships with the least amount of effort. As you'll be sharing module between ships, this does need a good bit of extra time swapping things around. Okay,
Alright.
Safe house?
Yep, that's where I'm heading for.
Copy that. On your back.
What's the safe house get you?
It's a base where you reload, it's a spawn point, and...
Okay. Okay, got it.
But the first time you visit, you have to like walk up to it and unlock it before you can use it as a respawn point or a fast travel
Gotcha.
point.
Gotcha.
And this is a replication of the Ubisoft studio in New York. It was actually a pretty funny one.
Hey, anything you're looking for?
So you know the premise of the story with the Division?
Are you asking me a question?
I am.
No.
So somebody...
Super flu scenario.
Yeah, Super Pox, I think it is. And they call it the dollar flu because a terrorist group put it in on the money. And it was Black Friday,
Okay.
and it got passed around a lot. And so New York is pretty much a quarantine and a war zone. And so basic functions have all pretty much failed.
Broken down.
Yeah, and so it's the mob rule mentality. So you got a bunch of guys who broke out of Rikers who basically have mobbed up as a big mob and are taking everything. You got a group called the Cleaners who are a sanitation crew, and they believe that you have to basically flamethrow everything to make sure all of the, you know, that the bug is dead. So they don't care who you are. It's like, yep, you need to go because you're infected, and they basically burn everything with homemade flamethrowers. And then there's a paramilitary group who had a mission to do something here for some executives, and have turned and decided that they're going to try to take over the area. And so and they're called the Last Man Battalion, and because they will fight to the last man. And you are the Division. So when everything fails and all goes, they activate. You're basically a cell-based guy or gal, and you're basically a federal organization that gets together when all shit breaks loose. So we don't have any rules. We don't have any. We basically, our job is to, you know, protect the weak and establish reestablish order and stuff like that. So we're working. One of the first missions you do is like, you go re-get the police commissioner, who's basically doing what's called the JTS, which is the Joint Task Force between like all the leftover cops and military guys and paramedics and all firemen and all those guys. And these are these guys that we see right here in this green with the helmet. But they're in over their head with the paramilitary group for sure, and they're outnumbered. So. Restocked, fully stocked. Oh yeah, hey, I should give you a pile of stuff again.
Sure, yeah, hey.
And there's a loot box right behind me. Ooh, purple SRS A1 sniper rifle.
Really?
Are the loot drops random, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like Diablo with guns.
Gotcha.
Let's see, that is not mine. That's not mine. Those are level 30s, you can just sell those. I can't share that one. Too bad. That was a nice.
Ooh, it's one level better than the one I got. It's the exact same weapon. Pretty funny.
Okay, those are all the weapons. Hey, there's a scope. Shared items limit reached. Please pick up shared item and try again. Have you not? Oh.
Hey,
oh, sorry.
You have to pick those up. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I was in my inventory when you were dropping stuff.
I think I got a scope for you. There it is. So you got a scope, RDS scope. I got a red dot scope. I got a horrible green, but it's 15x. can't share it.
Do red dot scopes exist? Like real red dot scopes?
Yeah, they
do. Okay.
Gotta commence money. That's money.
Did you ever subscribe to that that cop channel I told you about, Donut?
I did. Well, I didn't subscribe to it.
Okay.
I kind of checked it out.
Yeah, okay. He recently went to like a big range day with a bunch of other group. I mean, there was a shit ton of people there from the video, and got to fire a number of fully automatic stuff.
Oh,
right?
sweet. Kyle,
yeah,
more stuff.
looked awesome to me, obviously. Yeah, I've never gotten to fire anything like that.
You need to go to Vegas.
I've been, and the group that I've gone with was a bunch of gun nuts when we went and did a track weekend a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about doing it, and we just never put it together. We wound up just, doing typical like partying in Vegas stuff.
Yeah, my buddy Bruce and I did it, and it was a blast. As a matter of fact, it was the first time I got to fire a Tommy gun, a real Tommy gun. And you shoot the actually, Kyle and I did it. I mean, sorry, Crunchi and I did it as well.
Yep.
And we learned one thing about the Tommy gun is that when you fire the Tommy gun and when you let go of the trigger, it doesn't stop right away. It fires a couple of more rounds.
Interesting.
It's a very eager weapon.
And we got to shoot a saw and various other, like an M4 and all in automatic. It was pretty fun.
Yep. I'll tell you though, you take something that shoots 45s and you have them and it shoots them that fast, kicks like crazy.
Yeah. So what's on the agenda there, sir? We're gonna do some more.
No, I think I'm gonna clean up my inventory and check out. So if you want to pop over to weed or something, now's a good time.
Okay.
He's got weed? Who's got weed?
Funny.
Hey, Agent. I need
if you want to pop over to weed or something.
I am going to do some real quick inventory issues.
I moved away. I lived in Colorado the last 20 years and moved to Atlanta recently, and definitely miss the herbal refreshments of Colorado.
I didn't know you did that.
Because now it's an official thing now. It's legal and everything.
Oh yeah, I haven't in a while. I've only very slightly in the last year since my only connection here is my brother-in-law, and I don't see him very often. But yeah, no, I'm admittedly a enormous fan. I don't drink at all though, right? Like,
sure.
That's like the only thing for me.
I think the great thing about all the legalization efforts is the rise of edibles, because the breathing smoke thing has always been an issue for me.
Yeah, see, I'm a big fan of like vaporizer pens, right? Like the little tiny vapes. I mean, I will smoke it, but I don't generally prefer that. I like the vapes just because they're also a lot more discreet.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like, I mean, fucking those. I mean, I've been at a restaurant before and like either just stepped outside real quick or gone to the bathroom even, and right, nobody's, and that's in Boulder, obviously, where nobody cares.
Right.
But yeah, and I generally don't care for edibles too much personally because they tend to be a lot kind of heavier feeling, and it's obviously hard to dose, right? Because it takes so long for it to affect you, right?
Right.
And then the only real problem I have with edibles, unfortunately, they do a pretty good job of this, is it's a lot easier for kids to get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Right, and not realize what it is. Have you guys? I'm assuming you've heard the audio, the YouTube clip of the cop who like cooks up a batch of brownies with his girlfriend and then calls 911 because he thinks he's dying.
Oh God.
Have you guys never heard this?
No.
Oh fuck me! Hold on, I gotta find this. I'll play it through Discord real quick. It's absolutely fucking hysterical.
Yeah, you just might want to just link it. That'd be probably better. Yeah. Mark will probably find it funny too.
Yeah. Oh, Mark will enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll link it, but I'm gonna play it right now because it's too fucking funny. It's not long either. It's only 1 minute.
Accounts councilman from Dearborn, Michigan is outraged over a 911 call. He wants to know why no charges have been filed against a police officer who admits to confiscating marijuana from suspects and then baking it in brownies. And once he and his wife were full and high, they thought they'd overdosed and called 911.
I think I'm having an overdose of this so is my wife.
Overdose of what?
Marijuana, but I don't know if it had something in it. Can you please send rescue?
Do you guys have fever or anything?
No, I think we're dying.
Okay, how much did you guys have?
I don't know, we made brownies, and I think we're dead. Time is going by really, 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 really slow.
Well, instead of being charged, instead of being charged, the police department let the officer resign. His wife was not charged either. So far, police officials have not commented on the case.
Now, how do you follow a story like that?
Like, dude, how can you be that fucking stupid? I think I'm overdosed and dying on marijuana.
Well, admittedly, he showed a couple of lapses in judgment even before he made that call.
Yes, clearly he did. Right.
Yeah, I was in line to take a job at Facebook, and obviously it's a pretty big line. And so my recruiter goes, "Yeah," she says, "There's a lot of people, looking for this job, but I'll let you keep going." And she says, "But you're on the short list, so we'll keep you, update." And she calls me back and she goes, "Okay, we're gonna get you in on the the last 5 people." And I go, "Well, I thought I missed that list." She goes, "Well, one guy went in and they did the drug test on him, and he came up and he totally spiked marijuana." And he's like, "Well, it's legal now." And they're like, "Yeah, that doesn't mean we want you doing it." It's like,
yeah.
And so they, it was just like, he was like, "I don't understand why you guys," and it's just like, yeah, they don't want alcoholics either. So it's
and here's the thing, like, honestly, like, I will not submit to a drug test, right? Or more to the point, if they do care about marijuana, I don't want to work there, right? Because in my opinion, you don't have the right to know that about me. If I show up to work high or drunk or stoned on something, fire me, right? But what I do in my free time, especially when it's legal, is my business, right?
Sure.
But you're right that a lot of people, I would be out of jobs because of that, right?
There's a lot of well, and that's just these days. It's all part of it. It's like there are just some jobs you can't go without taking a test. Sure. Especially when I worked at a vendor. I actually didn't have to take a drug test for the vendor, but there were clients we had, and they were like, "Yep, hey, we're gonna do this kind of background on you, and we're gonna do and we're gonna do a drug test, and if you want this federal job, period. Especially the feds, because the feds do not." They don't pretend to. Yeah, they don't. Well, they don't pretend to.
Well, it's not federally illegal.
Yeah, it's not federally
illegal.
illegal.
I mean, right? Yeah.
The it's just flat out illegal.
Right. The venture capital firm I worked at for like 14 years, not only was it a small firm, they were like, at one point we were as big as 50, but for the last several years we were like 15. I went to a couple Pink Floyd concerts with a few of the partners, and I was the one that brought the pot for everybody, right? So it wasn't, again, it was if there's not a problem, there's not a problem, right? Right. Show up to work stoned and we have a problem, right?
Exactly.
Like, I've always been, I'll admit, like, I've always been very, what I consider mature about it. Like, I never, like, other than college I did, but I never like wake and bake. I never just get stoned all day on the weekend.
Hey, man, I lived with a functioning alcoholic, and he was like, for years, and he would go to work, he'd get up, go to work every day, sober as can be. He was an awesome employee, smart as a whip. He was a former Navy lieutenant who basically was in charge of the nuclear power plants on the submarine. Okay. So he was very, very smart. And he'd come home every day, and he would open a fifth, and he would just drink the whole thing. Jesus. And every day, and then every night he'd go to sleep all drunk, wiped out, get up every morning sober, and go back to work. And I'd never seen a functional drunk like that. I've seen, wow, I mean, he literally was, I was just like, wow. And he just, because he had the organizational skills and the willpower to only be drunk. He was an alcoholic, absolutely, but he was only an alcoholic when it didn't, And I was just like, that's, after a while I was just like, dude, you got to go. But pretty interesting person.
That's crazy, because most alcoholics can't deal with that.
Yes,
right?
yes, I've had plenty of alcoholic girlfriends who were bad.
Yeah, right. The way I always looked at pot for me specifically was it was never anything negative at all, right? Like, it was never a negative influence on me in any way, right? If anything, I mean, look, you know how high energy and how high strung I can be, right?
Yes, I do.
Can you imagine me on anything else, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
I don't even do caffeine, right? Like, actually, was it you that pointed out that I had drank a whole bunch of caffeine recently?
Yes.
Right, and I was like, God, I feel awful. I'm super jittery. I'm super twitchy. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And you're like, did you drink any caffeine or something? I was like, no, I never drink caffeine. Wait a minute, I brewed that whole thing of tea and didn't even think about the fact it had caffeine in it.
Good thing you didn't call for a rescue.
Yeah, no shit.
That you're dying, dude. I'm dying. I'm dying.
I think I'm dead. Time is going by really, 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 really slowly.
Yeah.
God, how can you be that fucking stupid?
Are.
But like you said, there was lapses in judgment before the call, right?
Yep. Absolutely. I need to. Oh,
if you're stealing evidence out of the evidence room and then you're going to call rescue over it, yeah. I kind of agree with what they said, that I'm surprised the guy wasn't charged with anything.
Right.
Keep fighting a good fight. Doing what I can for you.
Craft over here.
Storm was, like when you were a cop, is that kind of stuff just incredibly rare, or does it happen?
What's that?
Like people stealing drugs or shit out of the evidence room?
Oh no, that never happens. Yeah, the evidence room, because the problem is, if anything, the evidence room is like the most tracked room ever. Like everything, check in, check out. Because the problem is, if anything missing, if you cannot track from when you got a piece of evidence to when you get to court and all the way who touched it and everything, it comes part of the through the poisonous tree, and it will be thrown out, right? You can't, so it is highly tracked, and so no, nothing like that. Let me put it this way, if any evidence was ever missing, that'd be a huge thing. And
I mean, right, because like it would destroy the case, basically. It
well,
would destroy that
yeah, and as part of your and if you're anybody ever caught anybody doing that, you're just, there's not even a thought, right? Even your union can't help you. You're gone. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. But I mean, is it possible to, like, let's say you got 20 pounds of pot, or can you swipe an ounce out of that and nobody's going to notice it?
Not a regular patrol officer, no. You're talking about detectives. I mean, I never got involved in that stuff because I was on I was a B cop for a long time. So that was not a long time, but for the time I was. I mean, sure, there's probably opportunity for somebody, but the problem is there's a lot of people around, right? It's not like you're solo on stuff, right? When you make a bust like that, if there's 20 pounds, even if it's just one cop who's busting a car, it was like that one cop in Florida who busted that car that had a whole second storage thing, and he had like a huge amount of pot, right? But he called for backup, right? So there's like 4 or 5, and then you're going to call your supervisor, so your sergeant's going to come. So it's not like you're just hanging out there like, all right, let me put it in this bag right here, and I'll take it down to the station, right? So, yeah, so there's not a whole, even if you wanted to, there's not a whole lot of opportunity, right?
So I'm guessing really the only chance to cop it would be when you're, like, before you actually book it in as evidence, right? Well,
I mean, if you were a dirty cop, or a cop who was interested in pot, you run the beat a lot. You know who sells it. You know who has it, right? There's probably other means that are way less risky.
Well, and I also definitely am the type that, like, I realize that there are incredibly few dirty cops, right?
There's dumb cops, and there's not well-trained cops. There's plenty of them. We've seen them in TV a lot. And I actually think that more police officers. I think the training for police officers has gone way down. I see stuff on television, I just sit there and shake my head and go, "My God, how did you ever get past?" And and then you see these shootings and all these things happening, and I mean, I'm sure some of it might be race motivated. I mean, I wasn't there. I can see some of this stuff is not good. But at the same time, I can also see some very untrained police officers doing things they shouldn't be doing. And it's just like, that's what I think is bad on the department and things like that.
Well, and I think it's a shame how much negativity cops get these days because, of what an incredibly difficult, job it is, right?
Well, some of it, it's a tough one. It's like the problem is that everybody, if you live in a, let's call it a football city, and even not all of them, right? It's like, there's a lot more, I'm not going to say tolerance, but that's not the right word, but there's a lot more gentrification. So a lot of things aren't I mean, it's obviously there in some places more than others, but you know, there, like I've built in other cities where I've just visited, and I'm just like, holy crap, there's really, you know, racism still exists, and like even more, right? I mean, you know, I mean, we have subtle, you know, racism still does exist, right? We've done, I don't think we're back where 1940 or 1960, but even subtly we still have it. But there are some places where racism really does exist, like in the open, which is amazing to think in, you know, 2000, almost 2020, it's still there.
Agree. Yeah, and my mom's husband is 84, I think it is, right? And like, he's not racist to the point that he would say something to someone in public or something, but he constantly makes racist jokes. Right, and it drives me fucking crazy every time he does it.
Yeah.
Right, and every time he does it, I'm like, really, you know. And my mom, you know, doesn't like it, but she doesn't really say a whole lot about it either, right? And she's like, oh well, he's just from a different time. I was like, well, you know, that time is past, right?
Yeah, and I think his generation
we used to ride in buggies and horse and buggies. Is he still going to work in a horse and buggy? No.
Well, and which, you know, that kind of, and you know, and that's where you live, because there are places that is, let's even say, tolerated, which it shouldn't be, right? And there's a lot more places where it isn't tolerated anymore, which is good for us as a, you know, as a union. But it's still out there, unfortunately. So, you know, you know, you take 100% of cops and you like go, okay, what percentage of that are those people, and then you have a percentage. Unfortunately, those are the ones that find themselves on television a lot. That's right. Because when the cop is doing his job, I mean, just like anybody else, and when a cop is doing his job right, nobody cares, right? When they fuck up, and they do, and they should be held accountable to the law for it. But that's the one that goes on television. I tell my mom that. My mom's like, you know, well, all cops are really bad, and I'm like, okay, Mom, your son was a cop, 1, and 2. You know, no, they're not. They're just, you know, the majority of cops you meet are not going to be like that. Just, you know, that's not true. Maybe in a certain region.
Very, very small percentage, right?
Now, you know, local places, and you know, those are all special, you know, anyway. It's like, but I don't know. I might have some rose-colored tints on my opinion there, but anyway, that's what I'll think, and that's all I got to say about that.
No, you're. I mean, I completely agree with that.
You take off there, Kyle, or
in fact,
no, stay here.
I know I asked you this before. Have you ever discharged your weapon?
No, not at. It was actually a running joke in my with a friend of mine. So no, I never had to. I pulled it off plenty of times, but I never had to discharge it.
Okay.
My girlfriend in Mexico actually shot a guy who was threatening her sister. And
holy shit.
So the running joke is, so I go to lunch on Wednesdays with a friend of mine. His name is Judge. I think I've told you about him. A very large black gentleman. About 6
Yes.
So Judge used to be an Oakland PD cop,
I go to bed. Nobody's mad at me.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at anybody.
And so he was an Oakland PD cop, right? So Oakland, especially at that time, was the murder capital of the world, right? And I was amazed that he never pulled his gun and shot it. So we were at the table, and Judge looks at me and goes, you know, there's 3 of us at this table. 2 of us used to be officers, and only 1 person has shot somebody, and it's not either of the cops. You know, it was pretty funny. I'm just like, that's why you don't mess with my girl.
I need you to take care of a problem.
Stay frosty out there.
She didn't kill him. She shot him with a .22.
Still.
Right. Yeah, well, he well deserved it. He was molesting her younger sister.
Well, that's a goddamn good reason.
Yeah, he was revealing genitals and was moving up on her, and this was something that he tended to do and thought it was funny. And she told him the first time, if I catch you on this property doing that again, I'm going to shoot you. And he didn't believe her, and that was his tough luck. And she shot him a couple of times with the .22. He never, you know what? He never came back. So there you go.
Damn, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. All right, I am done with this guy. I think I'm going to move on to the next thing. Log it out.
Almost done with this video.
Anything easy to do with this guy?
Hey.
Yeah, wait, you weren't on last night. Did you see my stream with the record distance from Seoul?
No.
Oh, dude, this guy Darius, who's kicked around in the Discord a little bit. I've known him for a long time, actually, just fairly casually. But he right now is breaking the distance from Seoul record by spending, like, so you go to the furthest jump point, right? He's then pointing his ship in a specific direction and is spending something to the neighborhood of 3 weeks in Super Cruise.
Wow.
Yeah. And what they did at first was the first so many days of it was a friend of his following him. They're both in Anacondas with a with a ship to be the tanker, right? So that along the way he could tank up, so that he would then have the maximum from that point forward, right? Yeah. So like pretty serious attempt. That system is 65,000. I can't remember. It's 720, whatever it is. Like when I was in his ship last night, he was 80 light years from the star, right? So 80 light years in Super Cruise, and that put him like something like 8 or 9 light years past the previous record, and he's probably got another week that he's going to go.
And this is all in Super Cruise. He basically just pointed.
All in Super Cruise.
Holy
He pointed in the
that's
direction.
Nuts.
You lock the star, put the star at your back, and just go in a straight line. And just check in on the game every now and then. Adjust your. It was hard that first week when his buddy was tailing him, and he said what they would do is every 8 or 9 hours they would meet up in game, realign their trajectories so that they were near each other. And then, and so that when they finally dropped for the fueling, they were close enough to each other that it was, was a quick.
Right, because he's actually not going that far because it's all in Super Cruise.
Right.
So I guess he could catch him with the fuel tanker. Because I was going to say,
you still needed to stay together, right? Because if you get 30 light years from the star, it's going to take the other ship forever to get to that point, right? And so, and then like with the tanker ship, it was, nothing. They used like a class 3 or 4 fuel scoop. So the rest could be fuel tanks. And then a single like class 2 cargo rack and a class 1 fuel transfer limpet controller so that they could synthesize limpets, right? So they didn't have to bring a whole, fuel tank full of limpets even.
Wow. That's
right?
nuts.
I mean, so they thought it out the right way. Right.
And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to take this computer offline for a while because it's just going to be, it's
basically, yep.
So what does he do on Thursdays? He must just drop out on Thursday?
Warning. We're exiting the safe
I guess, yeah, that's a good point. I'm guessing he jumps right back in afterwards and just, jumps back to Super Cruise and keeps going. I mean, he might even drop from Super Cruise before the update to make sure it doesn't fuck his location. That's a good question. I didn't think to ask him that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Right. I invited him to come, join me on stream sometime, like once the record is broken, right? And I'm going to stream it when he actually breaks the record.
Nice.
Right. Because when he jumps out of system, right? That's what we're going to do is see him jump out.
So, Kay, how's your dad? Anything cool there?
Well,
or stable, I should say.
He's got Parkinsonism, so it's same symptoms as Parkinson's, just with a faster onset and more severe.
I got stuff that'll save your life.
Past birthday of his is probably the last one he's going to get, but over the course of the next.
I didn't think it was that jammed. Proximity coverage only.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. Like
backup activated.
He can,
System rebooted.
Left arm and left leg are like really stiff and almost useless.
Warning, entering dark zone.
And he's lost a lot of strength in his legs. He's been in bed being treated for so long, so he's atrophied. So they've been doing a ton of physical therapy to get him to be able to even stand up again. Just the big breakthrough this week was he could swallow again. So he had lost so much control over his throat that anything he tried to swallow would go down his lungs, and either drown him or give him pneumonia. So they had to do a whole bunch of work with a speech therapist, who turns out to be that's your gym instructor for your throat, by the way, if you're ever trying to figure that out. They got it to the point where he had enough control that he could swallow without so he hasn't tasted Yeah, so that's that's where he's at, and we're getting him to the state where he can live at home comfortably, which means being able to get out of bed and get into his electric wheelchair, his computer, that kind of thing, so that he can operate and have some good quality of life. Months, but the trajectory of this kind of disease is basically at some point he stops being able to swallow again. And that means we go back to a feeding tube, kind of direct to his insides. And then, at some point, we do palliative care and make him feel good about the fact that he's going away. And that's the best course.
How old is he?
He's 84. Just turned 84.
Oh, all right. Well, so I mean, never easy, but at least he's gotten a long life. And
I think the disappointing thing for him is that he has always done all the right stuff health-wise. Like he's always been super healthy and did all the right things. This started got real bad just this year. That's how it is. Honestly, I'm grateful because when it got serious. We thought that was it. We thought he was because he got pneumonia. He was in the hospital. It was really, really bad.
Pneumonia is always the killer, too.
Yeah, it is. That's what killed my dad.
Yeah.
When you have complications, it's like that's like if Teresa's dad ever got pneumonia, man, I would be like, oh shit, I better be down at the hospital.
Yeah. So we and then on top of that, he had all the neurological stuff going on where he wasn't able to do anything, and so we thought that was it. We thought he was done. But they diagnosed it. They got him medication for the Parkinson's, so he's able to actually function again. Went through physical therapy and rehab, and the rehab's working. So, we feel like the next few months are just a gift that we wouldn't have got otherwise.
Yeah, dude, I am sorry. I did not know it was that serious. I thought I knew it was serious at the moment. Serious. I didn't know it was long lasting, terminally serious.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like.
Okay. Well, so when you come here on next week, you're gonna spend the time with your dad, right?
That's right. I'm still gonna run my D&D game on Saturday. He would feel terrible if I didn't get to see my friends when I came down. So I'm gonna split the time. That's why I can't start early on Saturday, because in the morning when I fly in, I'm gonna tag up with my mom, help her with some stuff, because my dad always did all the files and everything, and so she's about to file taxes and she's just pretty good at that stuff. So when the son who comes down to help with that. I'll do all that, and I'll do my dad and I'll do that D&D game.
Alright, so is noon not possible then?
Noon is the earliest possible. Earlier than that.
Okay, yes. That's
because I'm on a 6:30 flight. Yeah, landing to then down to my mom's house, whatever she needs doing, and everything happens a little bit slower. Even 6 o'clock takes a while. But I've got pretty good perspective. I've talked to a number of friends. Relationship.
I would agree with that.
well, dude, if I'll get a couple hours this month, we'll see each other next month, right, or something like that.
Yep.
How? Actually, I didn't actually talk to you about that because coming up the holidays, are you gonna be less likely to be able to run with the Thanksgiving and all that fun stuff?
Looks like what we're gonna do for Thanksgiving is probably my sister and her family in Portland, since we're living closer to them now. So we might do Thanksgiving up in Oregon, and rope Mark and Lucy in on that one since they're living there too now.
Sure.
So do a little combo Thanksgiving up there, and then Christmas we'll come down and do our usual Christmas Eve, Christmas Day stuff with the wife's family and my family. See my dad then, and then after Christmas, she and I are just gonna head out and just disappear to a small town on the coast of Maui and not talk to anybody.
Oh, sweet. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I want to do that when it's coming up.
Yeah, it's been a stressful year, so.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you celebrate? You have to celebrate with CY's parents separately, right? I mean, you don't do it together.
That's right.
Only because I know the relationship a little bit.
What was that?
Yeah, they're not even allowed to ask. We'll mention that we saw her mom or dad. Oh, where was she?
Gas in! Whoa! There's your chance.
Oh, I've been using this guy's music for videos. This guy Miguel Johnson, who's done 3 like basically elite-themed classical albums, right? That are fantastic to listen to while you're playing, right? Because they practically could be the soundtrack of the game, right? And he releases them under Creative Commons. If you buy them, right, as long as you put credit in the videos, you can use them. In fact, the way he sells his albums, they're $10, but when you go to buy it on Bandcamp, it just pops up a box and says the suggested price is $10. How much do you want to pay? Right? So you could pay $1 if you wanted, right? Because he did it that way, I paid $20 for each album. Right? Just because I thought that was such a cool way to do it. The other day, he showed up in my comments, even. Right?
Oh,
like
really?
I noticed, I
That's
was like,
cool.
yeah, he was like, you know, he said, did you see that video I did on the brain trees that was kind of short?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, so I did one of the brain trees that I made I just was out at the brain trees in VR thinking, fuck, these are pretty, and I kind of wanted to do something more cinematic, right? So I did one basically showing you collecting them and saying, you know, there's rare materials you can get there, so there's, you know, and you can use the EX tool. So I made it a little tutorial-y, right? But I did about a minute of it where I just did some cinematic shots and like synced it to the music and used one of his tracks. And he was like, yeah, man, Colonia, I think it was the name of the track. Like, it really fits well with this, doesn't it? I was like, holy shit. He was like, dude, I'm such a fan, right? Like, you know, it was cool to see him.
Well, if you make that connection, he might start making music for you or stuff. That'd be
well, I mean, he mentioned he's got another album on the way that's going to come out soon, right? So I found him on Twitter so I could, you know, like, so I could keep up and see when he releases it.
So Kyle, Peter dropped into the channel and he was like, is anybody streaming? And I was like, well, I can stream or Matt can stream. And he's like, yeah, there's nothing on TV. I want to watch you guys play.
Nice.
He was like, of course, it's when there's 4 of us in a team, we get very acrimonious. And he's like, yeah, that's the best entertainment I get all week. Yeah.
Straight from the pack. It'll be our pleasure.
Yes.
Don't waste no more. You lost?
Bitch. Stick your head.
Do something. Don't hold back. Let's get this over with. Careful, guys. Do something. You lost? You gotta reload here. Careful, guys. Don't hold back. Shit, they got him. Bend down over here. Got more problems. Need more ammo. Get those back. Kill them all. Stop hiding. They gotta be close. Kill them. Get rid of them. Kill the assholes! Don't waste no more time! Go get him! Eat this! Keep firing at him.
Don't fight wars on two fronts.
Eliminate the bastards. Want to die? Don't let him get away. Kill them all. Gonna make them pay.
Ooh, two snipers. That's what's causing the problem.
They ain't getting away. It's supposed to be easy. Put on the pressure. Make this quick. Got him. Say your prayers. It's over with.
Area secure.
Gonna make this quick.
Distraction.
I was just thinking that.
This is the PvP area.
Ah, gotcha.
So basically, there's PvE guys in here, and you can actually work together if you want to, and everything in the extraction zone is contaminated, so you have to actually have it airlifted out and then decontaminate on the other side. However, any player can go rogue. So they call it rogue and shoot other players. So as soon as you shoot another player, you go rogue. And you can kill other players and take their stuff, or other stuff.
Take this city.
Sounds like I'd be rogue a lot.
But basically like and then eventually the green trigger flips.
Gotcha.
Well, the other thing is, so the way you get this stuff out, right, is you have to go to an extraction point, which is basically the helicopter pad. You gotta call in for helicopter time. And when you call in, you gotta set up a big flare. You gotta, like, you have to, usually you have to secure it from NPCs. But any player in the region will hear that somebody's activated that. And so the players will come. And then they'll wait for you to, work with all the bad guys and kill them. And then, depending on how wounded you are, they'll finish you off. So you have to be careful. And it's usually, it takes about 30 seconds for the helicopter to come in, and then it lowers the rope, and it's out there for 30 seconds. So, right around 10 seconds is when the people will come out of the woodwork because they want to steal your loot.
Yeah, gotcha.
And of course, you know, having a regular gear versus PvP gear is totally different. So if you see a guy who's, you know, level 90 and you're like level 30 and he's got all this gear on, you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna last 10 seconds with this guy.
If you fight, yeah, gotcha.
So, like
are there any pay-to-win mechanics, or is it all, you know, just cosmetic?
No, pay to is like for Barbie doll stuff. You really don't have. There's not a pay to win.
Yeah.
You have to play, and so yeah, pretty much no. And the way, and then there's, you just do missions and grind to get better gear, and then you can level it up eventually.
Alright, that's it for me. Have fun, guys.
Alright, buddy.
Talk to you later.
Take care, man. Nice to chat with you.
Alright, good chat.
That's actually good timing, Storm. I literally just hit render on the video.
Okay.
Assuming you still want to play.
Yeah, I just have to make it to the. I have a bunch of stuff I'm trying to extract, so I'm trying to go to the extraction center. This should be it. I'm going to go to the rooftop one because it's much harder to fuck with people on the rooftop one. Alright, I am at the helo pad. I'm more getting enemies around, so let's do some recon.
You think you can
What is not good? Go there.
Let's party.
Cheap ass shit. I'm not shooting you that. Those bullets.
Let's shed some light on this. Kill you.
Ooh, that's bad iron. Oh man, iron flank.
Get away! Here's our chance. Not even break a sweat here. Hold him back.
Deal with you, bitch.
Gonna waste you.
Where's your body? God, we got 430 rounds. We really gotta get the hell out of here. Alright. This is a good spot. This is probably not a good spot. It's a good spot for now.
Chopper is inbound.
It's gonna be a helicopter. 30.
I've gotten some more data from guys from YouTube, by the way.
Is it? Come on, take another shot. They're all dead. You ain't got a chance. You know what's over there. One more shot, he's dead. Watch my ass. He's shot. You know what you gotta do.
seconds till extraction complete. We've got the package. 15 seconds.
Extraction operation complete.
Walk out of here. Yeah, I'm kind of hungry. Is your video coming?
I'm rendering it right now.
Oh, shit.
2 minutes left to render. I'm writing out the description and tag right now.
Much of a shed some light on right, not their chance. It's not time now. They got JD. Get him out of cover. Need ammo. Cover me. Look away!
Out of ammo.
Out of ammo at an inopportune time.
No, like completely out of ammo. Like I need to get to my extraction zone. The fuck now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at a bad time, like you're in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, well, I finished that fight with 5 bullets left in that gun. Luckily, I have another gun that has bullets in it, but yeah.
Incoming supply drops. Calibrating landing zone coordinates.
Oh, dude, this guy reached out to me on Discord and is working through translating my videos into Turkish.
Wow, how's that work?
Apparently he plays with a group of Turkish guys who are all need help, love the videos, but don't speak enough English to be able to get through them. And I can turn on this feature where he can just submit a translation, and then I just have to go in and approve the translation. That's all there is to it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
We'll have to trust this guy what he's saying.
It's so funny you say that. I was thinking that exact same thing. Yeah, I do. But I can't say. I would assume somebody that was Turkish would watch it and reach out and be like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
I think this guy is not saying what you think he's saying.
Yeah, right. So I can't see how it would be, like how it would actually be a bad thing, right? I also just don't see the motivation in all that work, right?
You don't belong here.
I don't belong here.
And so I'm titling this video the top 20, the top 10, 25, and 75 engineering modules. It's funny, like, I actually added a few modules I wouldn't necessarily have because I was at like 71 or 72 and I wanted it to be an even number, right?
I kill fools like you in my sleep.
Alright, well, I'm gonna put you.
You know, I just realized writing a comment. Somebody commented on my video about my sim setup, my cockpit setup, and I said, you know, what are you waiting for? Then get on it. I spent more on my video card than I did on the whole chassis. That just hit me.
Yeah, you did. That was a lot of money in that video card.
So far, I'm not having buyer's remorse, so we'll see.
Oh no, you were almost the perfect.
I was in a very good place.
Yeah, I mean, unless you were at a 980, it would have been even a more better thing. But I mean, you're right. Like you were right at the 1080, best performance you could be until. I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, if it was on a 1072, it might have been better.
Oh, that's bad. Wow.
The more of this I do, the faster I get at this. That one wasn't too bad, how long it took me.
Well, we went out with a bang.
What are you waiting for?
Definitely underestimating
Readings
that.
indicate this area is safe.
It's okay. Here's my leaderboard. Go. Get out of the desert zone.
Warning. You are now
I
leaving
hate
the
when
safe
something
area.
is holding a directory open, but you can't tell what file it is. Right? Like I wish on the error screen where it's like, hey, you can't do that, it would say, this process has that directory open.
Yeah, like a nice error code. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm gonna to stop the stream.
Okay.